Thank you, Catherine. As Catherine mentioned, we're on Wurundjeri country here of the Kulin Nation. I'd like to pay respects to elders past and present and acknowledge the ongoing strength and resilience of community across this land now known as Australia. My name is Willem Brussen. I used to work as a First Nations social worker at Support Act. I'm a proud Barramadigal man of the Darug Nation, and I'm really grateful to have grown up on Wurundjeri country here. So I'll throw it to each of the panellists to introduce themselves.
Deadly. How you feeling, first of all? Good?
It's cool.
Yes. I'm Philly. I'm a proud Wemba man. I grew up in northwest Victoria, small town called Mildura. Beautiful place. You know Mildura? It's the greatest place in the world. No bias, no bias. I've recently moved back, which has been really cool. Being able to, be back in community and running programs for the mob back home has been, a blessing. But for the past 10 plus years, I was living on Wurundjeri country here in Naarm. And a lot of good come from it through my music and just meeting a lot of different mob and getting a lot of different opportunities. So, yeah.
Yay! Yay! Hey everyone, my name is Becca Hatch. I'm a proud Kamilaroi Samoan girl. I grew up in southwest Sydney on Darul land in a place called Campbelltown. I don't know if anyone knows Western Sydney, but yeah, that's where I was born and raised. I'm a singer-songwriter. I've been doing music for I don't even know, since I was 16 years old, so it's been a hot minute. But yeah, happy to be here today and have a chat with these mob here, so yeah.
Awesome.
Yay!
Yay!
My name is Skye Thomas. I'm a proud Gunai Yora and Wiradjuri woman. I grew up in Dandy in the southeast here in Melbourne. Very, very lucky and blessed to grow up with so many strong black community members. I think the more that I enter into this scene, I'm very thankful that I have such beautiful roots and I always have a home to go back to and family and friends to return back to. I guess people know me as a DJ. I do a lot of events. Well, not recently. It's been whatever, we'll talk about it. This is mental health, But I've done events, I've done commission work with graphics design, I have a background in doing fashion design and that. Kind of like a multidisciplinary artist, and I kind of try to do what I can in the creative scene to continue to carry out, I would say, my family's legacy of community care and support. So, yeah.
Deadly.
Awesome.
Yay!
Thank you all. Let's kick it off with, can you share some of your biggest wins and challenges as a First Nations artist emerging in the music industry? Whoever wants to kick it off.
Biggest wins and achievements?
And challenges.
And challenges.
Yeah.
Biggest wins? Yeah, okay, cool. All right. First off, being from a rural community, I think that was one of the biggest challenges for me. Coming up in the industry, I wasn't ever passionate about music. I didn't grow up in a musical family, none of that. Music for me was a way out, I suppose. Before then, I wanted to be a professional basketball player. I didn't grow tall enough. That's my excuse, but there are shorter people than me in the NBA, so yeah. But music came about because me and my friends just thought it was cool. Outside of that, I was just getting in trouble. So when I first started making music, I guess the advantage of being in a small town like that was not too many people were doing it. So the opportunities for music came about pretty quickly around Mildura and surrounding areas. From there, the profile just built. But there was no real pathways. Nothing that, especially, I'm an old fella now. I turned 34 on Tuesday.
Yay!
Happy birthday.
I'm an old ass man. So back in my day, when I was making music, there was 5 black fellas in the industry. Now there's a bunch of us, which is a beautiful thing to see. But being able to come to Melbourne and connecting with a bunch of other black fellas that were making music, and being asked to be a part of the Payback Records family, you know, Nathan Lovett Murray and Capac and Jimber and the Young Warriors and D-Boy and all that mob really gave me an opportunity to, you know, spread my wings and put me under their own wings to help me elevate, you know, my creativity and my artistry. I think the biggest achievement for me out of my career is just kind of leaving home, because a lot of the brothers and sisters I know growing up never want to take that step, because it is a very fucking scary thing to leave your community and not knowing what is going to come from it. You know, I had no idea what was going to happen, but, you know, thankful enough to be able to have that journey and achieve the things that I've achieved. I think, you know, I've had a pretty solid career, and getting to see all these other deadly artists come through now and take it to an even higher level has been really, really dope as well. So I think just playing a little part in where we are now in the industry, I think is probably one of my biggest achievements, like one of the biggest things for me, for sure.
I feel like this is just like such a broad question. Like there's so many things you can talk about. I guess like similar, like for me, I grew up in Campbelltown. There wasn't a lot of opportunity in Western Sydney. Like it was just difficult trying to find places, you know, to make music or find my community and like my people. Being a black person in the music industry is just hard. You know, you're always trying to find people who like even look like you. And I guess growing up, there wasn't a lot of representation in media. I think I maybe saw like Jess Mowboy, and that was about it when I was growing up. You know, I feel like I'm such a different artist to that. So yeah, I don't know, it's kind of difficult, but I don't know. I feel like as I've come up, I'm so grateful to be where I am. Like I'm 24 years old now. You know, I've had people like Sky, you know, like Philly, who have like been able to break down those doors for me. You know, I can't even like touch on the struggle that, you know, they would have gone through. So yeah, I remember seeing Philly at like Bad Apple shows when I was like 16 years old. Yeah, which is like crazy now. I feel like it's been a hot minute.
You were a little bubba back then.
I know. So yeah, I'm like, at the same time, I'm really grateful for the opportunities that I've been given as, you know, someone who's up and coming still. Some of the things that I guess like I've achieved, like it kind of feels like a little bit awkward being like, yeah, I did this, that's cool. Probably like the coolest thing I've done was performing with Coldplay in Sydney, which is like probably like the one thing I'm the most proud of. And you know, I use the opportunity to platform my mob, which makes me even more proud. So, yeah.
Yay, yay. I'm just going to do that for the whole night. I feel like this question is almost like a trick question, because I think for a lot of black followers in the scene, our challenges are our biggest wins. Like I've known Philly for so long, and we've had so many conversations about how hard it's been for mob to be in these spaces. Even though like we're kind of similar in age, I think all three of us, we represent like 3 generations of mob in the music scene. And, you know, Philly, I don't know why I'm talking about, it's going to come back to me, I promise. But it's like talking about like Philly had to really fight to have our voices heard, and the conversations and the fights and the ignorance and talking to venues and organisations and all that sort of stuff. They are the hardships that he had to face, but became biggest wins because so many opportunities came from that and so much work came from that. I think that even though I've done like these big shows or done some big things, my wins are the biggest challenges that I've had. Before I became DJ, I worked a lot in like club promoting and hosting, and I think those past couple of years that I was doing that, it was actually me just fighting with venues and that to just get mob through the door, to be able to get into spaces, because even when I was 18, 19, they weren't letting us in the club, especially if there was more than 2 of you. So continuously building up those relationships and fighting with security and fighting with venue managers to be like, I took responsibility for so many black followers where it was like, it's on me if they muck up.
Yep.
I will get kicked out too. But I think all my wins are not the videos, not the big gigs, but it's all the work that I did behind the scenes. It was getting people work that were other blackfellas that I really loved and supported, and being able to put money into their pockets and giving them opportunities and platforms that I think that they really deserve. So all that hardship is the wins for me.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think Becca put it well when she said breaking down those doors. I think when we look at the music industry now, there's still a way to go for sure, but I think we can be really proud of the representation of mob in music industry.
100%. I think just how recent it is, like we can kind of pinpoint when the floodgates open for black fellas to come through, right? Like, you know, you can really look at AB Original as fucking booting that fucking door in, and a lot of other mob just jumping through the windows. But right now, you know, we got artists like 360 complaining about being white and not getting played on radio these days. So
Because you got shit songs.
which is fucking crazy. I just don't understand that train of thought. It's like, how are you going to say black people stole hip hop from you? That's wild as shit. But that's what I mean is like, but you know, now, you know, it was never a lack of talent in our communities, black and brown communities. It was a lack of resources, you know. We say that a lot, but that was the absolute truth. Now that things are a lot more accessible and resources are, you know, more, I guess, in abundance, there's black and brown artists who own and run record labels and give an opportunity to other black and brown artists to platforming each other. I think one thing that's been really dope is seeing a lot of, you know, black and brown artists, people of colour just kind of coming together, platforming each other, collaborating, and you know, holding true to what we believe and telling our stories, and people listening and loving that shit.
Yeah, totally. And I think something that mob does so well is bring the mob along with them, right? So like the opportunities are there because one person creates an opportunity for another person. There's a feature on something or something like that. But you've all touched on community. What role does staying connected to community and culture play in your own well-being?
I was just yawning for a little
He
while.
was so quick to be like, go on then.
Ben dobbed in, Becca.
I guess for me, like the music industry, I don't know, working in it for so long, it can just get so clouded, and like I feel like there's so much ego that comes into play, and sometimes when you're around a lot of people who are working and everyone wants to make money and, you know, everyone has like ulterior motives, like it can be so easy to get lost in that. For me, like, you know, having people around me, building community, you know, like I moved down here to Nam with my brother, and like having someone like my brother around me all the time is like, you know, the most grounding thing ever. So, you know, like building that community, people who keep you grounded, you know, a safe space, you know, where you can be loud and be black and, you know, be who you are. Yeah, I don't know. That's so important to me, and yeah.
Do you want to touch on the role of community playing in your well-being and that type of thing, Sky? I know it's a big thing for you.
Oh, it's a huge thing. I think that if we're talking about mental health, like I've been through it so many times, but I realized how my people were medicine for me when I moved away from home for the first time. Yeah. And I think I was saying this earlier. It was like, you were there.
Yeah, we're
at the
having
front.
a yarn
It
at the
was like
front.
I lived in this big, beautiful apartment. I was bougie. It was the first time I had a room where I didn't technically have to share it. You know, with mob, you always got to kind of give up the room if the uncles or the aunties or nan comes over. And it was like my own space. And I was like, oh, this is horrible. No, because it's like my house with my family. Ours is the drop house. So it's like front door is always open. People are always there. People are there to see how you're doing, telling stories. You hear what's happening back at home. They'll stay for a bit. They'll help cook. And when you've got an apartment building where you need to scan to get in, people can't just rock up out of nowhere. And just how much I kind of like took that for advantage of just having, like, in saying that being overcrowded all the time is not the best for your mental health, but it was how strong my connections were with my family, and just having a presence was so important, and having people who I can lean on and talk to or just have a shared meal with is such a big thing. So I think even to this day, it is so, so important for me as an artist. I wouldn't even just say specifically with my community. As a DJ who's been touring around the country for the past couple of years now, people don't realise how isolating it can be to be in the music scene. If you live in Melbourne and you've got a show in Sydney, you've got to fly there, you've got to sit around in a hotel room, maybe go to sound check, and then you go eat something, and then you come back and you perform, and you can either stay out or you can go back to the hotel where you're pretty much just waiting out the hotel until you got to go back home. But like nearly in every city that I've ended up in, even if I don't know them, there is a group of blackfellas there that come up and say hello and they give me a hug. I went up to, what was it, the end of last year, I was up in Adelaide, second time being there, but like biggest group mob of blackfellas came to like my show there that I was at this festival. And they just had like yarns with me, and it was like, I don't know anybody here, but like I've got my mob here, even though I've never met them and don't know none of their names, but they're there to support me, and I just felt that. And I think as blackfellas, we're just so lucky that we are so connected as people.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's that shared experience and common experience, right?
Yeah.
And who have been the people that you've kind of all touched on in your own ways, but who have been the people that have been there for you in those harder times? And like, it's been community and that type of thing, but have there been mentors and that type of thing for each of you?
You know, I always give a shout out to my foster mother. You know, she's passed on now, but yeah, she played a massive role in just, you know, my life. I could have been in a completely different space than I am right now, but you know, during her time as a foster parent, had taken in over 1,000 different kids. She also took my mother and her siblings in when they were kids. Part of the reason why we ended up with her, Mum wanted us to be with her, and you know, so staunch, old school black woman. She beat me so many times. I got her hiding every other week. It was so funny. She's one of them aunties too. She'll just flog you with whatever's around. So you kind of like scope the scene and see what's there. And if you see like a bat, you just don't go in that day. Different times. But but yeah, you know, I gotta definitely you know, show love to Auntie Bev and my Auntie Trudy as well. Auntie Trudy was Auntie Bev's best friend, and you know, she was really one of the only connections that me and my sister had to our family and our lineage as Weber people. You know, she taught us about all of that shit, which I'm, you know, grateful for, to be able to have that connection. Then, as you know, my mum, she passed when I was 15, but during that time, you know, she was always trying to allow me space to dream, which I think is a huge thing, you know, in our communities. Dreaming is free, and, you know, allowing and building spaces that are safe for children to be able to dream and just be children is something that I think a lot of people take for granted sometimes. And you know, it's those moments that we find within our lives and our communities, those moments of joy, those moments of black love that we get to experience. I think, you know, all the aunties I've had in my life, after my mother passed away, aunties stepped up to play that role as my mother. After Auntie Bev passed away, you know, same thing, aunties stepped up, and, you know, there was a void that they needed to fill, and that's that responsibility that they felt. So a lot of aunties, you know, which is why aunties love me the most.
Yes, like you talking about your aunties just reminds me about like all the black women in my life that I guess have been also mentors. Like there's so many people I can think of, but I guess like the one person that always comes to mind is my mom.
Yeah.
Hate to be cliche, but like, if you like...
Hey, I met her mum when I met her, because she was too young to come to the gig, so...
Yeah, my babysitter. Yeah, like if you know my mom, you know like me and my mom roll to everything together.
Biggest fan.
She, like since I was like a little kid, she would come to every single gig all the way up until now. Like if I go to Sydney and I play a show, she's right up the front, live streaming on Facebook. Like, yeah, she's the best. So started taking her to like awards and stuff, and the first time I was nominated for an ARIA, I brought my mum, which was like so hectic, because I remember I like turned around, looked back, I'm like, why are you standing with Amy Shark? Like, what's going on? But yeah, you know, my mum was like, yeah, been my like ride or die, so yeah, that's the person I think of.
My main one, obviously, is my mother. Literally, that woman has picked me up, like scraped me off the floor after some stuff. It's always just like, come on, we're not doing this. Get up. She's very, you know, I think she's got the perfect balance of just like saying it how it is and then just drowning you in love and support as well. But I've got like little potholes. So like there's a hierarchy. So it's like my mother, everything. And I'll explain why I have this. And then I've got like a couple of my really, really close cousins, and that's like the second tier. And the third tier is like a couple of my friends who aren't blackfellas. And the reason that I've got a tier is like my mother is like my main support. My cousins and my family so it's like my mother's gonna just tell it to me straight. She knows exactly, she's really logical. She's been there, done that, is work smarter, not harder kind of vibes. My friends are more of like, because we're the same age and we've been through similar stuff and had similar experiences when it comes to, you know, like shit at work or other stuff happening during the family, or like we've shared an experience in itself. Like I have people to relate to with that stuff. And then I've got my non-blackfella friends, and it's more so just, I like it because it's like, it's a different perspective, because it's like you didn't grow up like me, your family dynamics are not the same, your experience in the world is very different from mine as well. And the reason that I do this is because it's like I like picking apart when things go wrong for me. Like I want to try, I've been through mental health wise, I've been so anatomically horrible that it's like now I don't ever want to end up in my lowest point. So it's like I want to work as hard as I possibly can. But it's also because especially when it comes to like our mob, especially like our older ones, like our mothers and aunties and that, I know what's happened within our community. I know like the history of like my family as well. I do not want to have to put it all on my mother as a thing. And she would be happy for me to do that anyways. But for me, it's like I give a little to each, because it's like I feel like my heaviness or my burden can be so heavy sometimes that it's like if I can give it to 3 other people to help me out, that's much better than me just dumping it all on one person. But that's just me. It's just like, yeah, I get so anxious about offloading sometimes to family members of that. But so yeah, I've got a system.
The strong black matriarchy, that's what you've all talked about. And I love that you've all talked about that, because we all have aunts, as Philly was talking about, that we look up to, that are there for us when we need it, and our mums and that type of thing. But who have been the people within the music industry that have really helped you guys along the way? And is there any particular moment that has really shaped you into the artist that you are now?
I think, I was at when I first started out, I didn't really have anybody.
Okay.
Like I was working in clubs where I didn't see any other blackfellas really going to. That's why I used to be like, come to Trill, come to 𝐭𝐡𝐨, I'll sort yous out. But I didn't really have anybody. I kind of had to learn from the ground up, like how things worked, tried to build those relationships over time. And I think I kind of just bypassed having a mentor or support person. I was deadly enough. I was lucky enough to build some...
Deadly enough as well.
I was deadly enough, and I still am. But to build really, really strong relationships with people throughout the scene that have continued to support me in my support of community. But yeah, I think at the time, like, there wasn't really any other DJs. There wasn't anybody else that was really running events, unless they were them real old fellas that were putting on events outside of town. And $40 for a ticket. Come on. Love yous, but yeah, we kind of had to work from the ground up because we didn't really have anybody there. Yeah.
I don't know if there's like anyone like specifically,
Sure.
but I guess there's been like a lot of people over like the course of my career. When I first started, I was like 16 years old when I first started writing songs. One of the first people I met was Thelma Plum. Thelma was just like so different like back then. Just like it's just so interesting meeting someone like for the first time who like had similar experiences and could share, you know, like how they would write music and the way that they like viewed songwriting and stuff. So interesting. And then I guess as I started doing gigs, and as I said before, being like, I guess kind of from like a younger generation of artists, I was so grateful to like have artists that could bring me in and be like, oh, we're touring, we want someone to support. You know, like I played shows with Philly when I was younger. Yeah, there was like Nookie, a lot of different people in the Sydney scene. That I'm so grateful for. So yeah, there's been heaps of different people. Briggs has been like a big one. Briggs, brought me up to like Origin one time, and we just had like a big chat about just like music and life, and those like moments, I guess you don't really think about it a lot, but when you like piece them together, you like realize that they actually make a big impact on you as an artist. So yeah.
Yeah, I think, like them early on especially, there was, I really didn't have any kind of mentors or anything. It was proper, like, fake it till you make it type of vibe, you know? Like, I had no idea what I was doing, but it was around the same time when YouTube was kind of picking up, right? So me and my brother boys, we would watch, like, some of our favourite rappers' interviews, and, they'll talk about their hustle of, like, dealing tapes at the back of their cars and shit. So we was like, oh, that's what we need to do. So, so we went and bought like cheap ass microphones from the reject store, and got Audacity. It was like, Audacity, free program, and jacked a bunch of beats from YouTube and I wrote and recorded a bunch. No idea what I was doing, but I was writing and recording a bunch of songs, and then we stayed up all night and. We was burning CDs for the young ones out there. I don't know if you've ever burnt a CD before, but it's fucking torturous. We burned like 60 of them, and it took hours to burn 60 CDs. And then we had to write on the back of the fucking CD covers that we made. And we went around town and we sold them to whoever would buy one for whatever price they wanted to give. I think we ended up making like $200 from just selling these CDs. And that's kind of how I first got started. Yeah. But when I got to Melbourne, everything just got so much easier because there was people already in the industry doing things. So, again, from like, as Beck was talking about, like, there was artists who would, hit me up and want to take me on tour. I went on my first tour with the Young Warriors, and they took me on a national tour. This was really my first time kind of out of fucking Mildura. I was going around the country with them and meeting a bunch of different people and seeing a bunch of different things. And, from there, it was Fresh the Line was the next dude to hit me up and be like, yo, come support me on tour. I was like, sweet. And then Briggs. And then from that Briggs tour, he started Bad Apples and then signed me. And then, the rest is history. As you were saying, there's just so many different like moments throughout my career where like people have kind of stepped into that role as a mentor, temporary mentor. Sure. I don't feel like I have a person who I ever go to speak about like my music and how it's operating. Briggs was kind of there, but I'm a very reserved individual. I know like I'm talking shit up here, but I'm very chill. I'm very to myself a lot of the time. I don't really interact with people too much outside of like these spaces. I'll just be chilling at home. But, being able to connect with different people and learning from different people and just being inspired by, different people's journeys as well, I think has been a really, really big thing for me.
Yeah. I love how all of you talk about the importance of community and the people that have stepped in at different times and that type of thing. And through that, you all seem really strong in your cultural identity. But how do you stay grounded in your cultural identity whilst working within the music industry and the expectations of the music industry? I
think, I don't know. That's hard to answer because I don't really think about it. I'm just, you know, my blackness is just, I'm just black as fuck. So, so like, yeah, and I'm more, yeah, I don't know. I think like, Madura's an interesting place, man. Yeah, that's a hard question to answer for me. I don't know. I stay grounded, but I suppose by just being around family and friends in my community. I'm even when I was with Bad Apples, I was the community guy in the crew. You know, when any kind of gigs came up for like community events and they couldn't afford Briggs, they would send it off to me because that's the spaces where I wanted to be at. Yeah. I would, you know, always go out to community. I didn't care how much they were paying me. I got paid a fucking Big M one time.
What
and I was chocolate. I was just bullshitting. They were like, we don't have any money. Can you travel all the way here and do a show? And I was like, yeah, easy. Just give me a chocolate milk and I'm good. And they did. But
how good's chocolate milk?
Yeah, chocolate milk's the best. But it's those things. I think for me, it was important early on when I knew that this was going to be my thing. Because as I said, music's not my passion. I figured out later that my passion is what I can do with music. You know, it's the vehicle that I use to get out in community, inspire youth, and work with mob and that there. So I try to be as accessible to my community as I possibly can. I play in the sport carnivals. I lose every year, but I'm there. We played grand final the last 3 years at the basketball carnival. Lost every single time. And it was in Majura this year. We nearly had it. And then I got on the court, fucked up.
Who were you playing?
I should have stayed on the bench.
Who were you playing?
We played against, not your brother.
Oh, I was going to say, was that the one that my brother won?
I'd hate to play against your brother. Her brother was dropping 30 points on people's heads. I was in B grade. I'm not playing A grade anymore. I'm too old for that shit. But I want to be accessible. Like that's what's important to me. Being out in the community, being in arm reach to these to whoever. You know, I don't have like that middleman to where like people need to contact my agent or my manager or anything like that. If anyone wants to hire me for gigs, they can just reach straight out to me and I'll just hit them back like, yeah, cool, whatever, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And we work from there. Yeah.
And I like what you said about it's what you do with them. It's not music as the passion, but it's what you're able to do with music.
Yeah.
So do you guys want to touch on that?
I'm exactly the same.
Yeah.
I think I have had it drilled in me because both my parents are so extremely active in my community. My mother runs everything, and if she doesn't run something, she does. She's just not. You just don't see her face at the front. She's a micromanager. If things aren't going the way she wants it to, she's controlling it in some way. But it got drilled into me just how important it is for community. And because I was always thrown the deep end, having to do everything that she was doing, she'd have like meetings with, Department of Justice, and she'd be like, "You're coming." I'm like, "Okay, okay, fine, I'm coming." And she's like, "Oh, you're actually speaking. We're doing a forum talk today." Me at like 15 being like, "What the fuck am I supposed to talk about?" But I don't think I need to be grounded in it because it's exactly what Philly said. Like, I love DJing, I love doing music, I love doing events and that. But that's not my main drive. It's just me liking something or enjoying something. It is being able to put on events for my community and have them be represented and to have them have safe spaces to be in and like them knowing that they're coming into a place where they don't have to worry about nothing. It's raising money for community with the platform that I've had. It's being able to give other opportunities. It's being able to push forwards, we're mob from like my area that are in like the deep southeast, living in country towns and that, and being able to bring them into places. I will always say like, if my community can't show up to where I'm at, I don't want to be there. Like if I could be playing on the biggest stage in the world, but if my sister isn't blind drunk, shaking her ass behind me, or she can't be in those spaces and can't come to me being at festivals, or can't come to me, my sister and my cousins can't come to events where I'm playing at because they're having issues with security, then I don't want to play. Because that's the whole point of me being in this space in the first place, is to ensure them coming through. And I don't know, it's kind of backfired a little bit. Because now they come everywhere with me. I did like a 8-hour DJ set at Sub Club, And it was one of our cousins' 21st, so they all came afterwards. So this is like 30 plus 20-year-olds. And for the first 2 hours, I was in like fight or flight. I had like 8 tequila shots. We're not encouraging drinking. I'm just saying I had 8 tequila shots, but because I was so frazzled, they did not hit me. Because every 2 minutes, Sky, can you charge my phone? Can you plug the phone into the DJ? Sky, you need to go out the front. And it's like, I'm DJing for 8 hours straight. What do you mean? One of them's climbing on the speakers. I'm like, get down. What are you doing? And then the bar manager, like, oh, because we know that your family's here and we want to look after the mob. We gave them 30 drink cards. I'm like, why did you give them drink cards? Why did you do that, Sky? Can you call the taxi? I left my phone in the taxi. Can you please call them? I'm scared to call them. And it was for the first 2 hours. It was like every one of them coming up to me, and I'm like, I worked so hard to get you into these spaces. You should be so lucky. And here you are taking full advantage of it. Well, I'm supposed to actually be working. Thanks. They're banned from there now. They're trying to get, they've been literally every single couple of weeks, they try to call them up and they're like, are we allowed back yet? Because we want to come for NAIDOC week. So fingers crossed they're allowed back in. A strange way to finish it off, but I'm not allowed to not be blackfellow. If I don't, I get flogged by my mother and my family and my community, and I'm never going to do that. So you can't wipe the black off of me. It won't work.
When like navigating the music industry, what are some of the mental health like tools or supports that you guys lean into to help you navigate? Because like it can be really demanding. You've touched on some of the harder aspects throughout this yarn, but what are some of the things that you do to like look after yourselves?
I guess for me, like having a balance and understanding that like the music industry and pursuing music is like my job, and then being like my actual life and like the people around me, that's a separate kind of thing. And I guess coming up, everything for me was like so connected. A lot of my friends and everything, like the people around me were just so related to the business side of things that I guess it's so easy to get lost in that. And for me, having that balance, like doing just normal, regular life things, you know what I mean? Like I got a bike when I moved here and I just started riding my bike around. That is underrated, riding a bike around. Yeah, like joining a gym, you know, doing like hobbies. For me, I also like went through a kind of mental health phase as well, where like doing music was really hard for me, and I went to therapy for a hot minute. You know, like I didn't do that through any like music support. That was just like a personal thing for me, and yeah, that was like so important. Just taking the time out to be like, you know, we need to take a break from music and be like, I needed to put myself first and work on like here, because like if up here is not good, then like everything else isn't, you know, so yeah.
I just run from my issues. Nah. But I did do that for a long time though. I suppose like, you know, again, my upbringing was very unconventional. I grew up, my household was just chaos all the time, much like Sky's. You know, there'd be 15 kids. Our door was never locked. I still don't lock my front door because of how I was raised. Because the thought process was always like, you don't know who might need a place to stay. And you might not be home or you might be asleep, and, you know. So that was how I was raised, and I still live by that. If I get fucking robbed, I get robbed. It is what it is. But yeah, for a long time, like I really struggled with my mental health, just because, again, I wasn't paying attention to it. I just wanted to keep going. But when life started slowing down, is when it all caught me, and it fucked me up. You know, the most recent thing that kind of happened was a few years back. I was walking home from the laundromat, and like cops pulled me over and pulled a gun on me because they, you know, I fit a description. And it wasn't the first time that shit's happened to me. Like, it happened to me when I was 14, but it really kind of fucked me up because I haven't dealt with the police at that capacity for a really long time. So it really threw me off, and for a good 2 years, like I was struggling to leave the house. I was making up lies to skip out on gigs and, you know, just not leaving the house. So, and I didn't know what was going on for the longest time. And so I started therapy, and, you know, it was something that was necessary for me to do. I think, like, you know, as I said, I'm a very reserved person. Like when shit gets hard, I just hide. I hide away in my room and I'm just stuck in my mind. I'm thinking and overthinking and piecing together why I feel certain ways. You know, there's a lot of trauma there that I, you know, obviously grew up with, a lot of intergenerational trauma, but my own trauma as well from my own upbringing. So being able to, you know, sit in a therapy session and kind of just let everything out and get that advice and those tools that's necessary for me to kind of like, you know, grow as an individual. And this shit, you know, it's all recent for me, like, and it's just that too, like, it's a process, right? So it's not going to happen overnight, but doing whatever you can to ensure that you are working on that shit and you are working towards bettering yourself and just bettering your mental health. I think a lot of the time, especially for black fellas, like I'm blessed because my brother boys who I grew up with, my circle, we've always been pretty open about having yarns about shit that we were going through. But I know a lot of mob don't get that, so I'm very privileged to have the friends that I have, and I was always cool to kind of lean on them. It would take me a while, but eventually I'd be like, yo, I'm fucked up, and I'd be like, we feel you.
Talk it out.
Yeah, and we'll go and hoop or something, and it's just, having the right people around me and just speaking about things I think has been really good for me because, I don't speak about how I'm feeling a lot of the time, but I've been getting a lot better at that. So, just little things, bettering myself, drinking water.
It's really hard to do these days.
It's a struggle. The fact that we got to be like, yo, drink water, you mob, it's like, damn, it's that bad?
It's that bad.
People out here just not drinking water?
It's me, I'm not drinking water.
You're the reason why they made the slogan?
Yeah. I went like 2 weeks without drinking water because I just have coffees.
It's so wild.
Just coffees, and that's
so
it. What am I
wild.
getting that much water?
Yeah.
Along with milk.
But it's just little things like that, like little things that I can implement in my everyday life that has, really helped me out. And, not feeling bad for being absent, I think is a big thing for me as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, biggest advocate for therapy. Even if you feel like you don't need it, go get one. To have someone to just talk to who has no idea about what's happening in your life. You don't have to, cherry pick, you don't have to smooth things over to make things sound nicer. Just being able to talk and get stuff out of the way is so good. And to talk to a professional, and they just give you like little gems. Like they just say something to you and it's so simple, but like your brain just clicks and you're like, I've never thought of it like that. So having that external insight is really, really good. So I highly recommend everybody get a therapist. My two biggest things that I've learned being in the scene is knowing your worth. I think, as black fellas, like we've been conditioned to accept crumbs, and that's from money, it's to mistreatment, it's to anything. Knowing exactly what you're worth and demanding that, I think, is something that we've most definitely got to be doing. But they're like, oh, we only have this much money. Be like, great, get somebody who will play for that much money. Thank you. Like, thank you for the opportunity, but we can't do it. Set those standards for yourself because we deserve that. We've been working for so long for us to be able to have bare minimum, above bare minimum. So knowing your worth. And secondly, I would say is knowing exactly who you are. I think especially considering like the state of the world that it's in right now, there's so much going on. I think in the arts industry, I feel like so much gets put on us, because it's so public. You're doing events with certain people or you're interacting with certain people or how come you're doing that gig and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, I feel like we can feel so pressured because like we've got to be the perfect black fella in every single situation. But it's like you can't let people deter you from knowing exactly who you are. You cannot be questioning yourself. You know who you are. You know who you are as a black fella. You know your connections. You know your history, your culture, your community, and they know you. I think that's also important as well, as that your community knows you and your people know you. And to have people make you question, because the music industry will do that. They'll make you question. They'll be like, oh, but you're like sort of black. Like you're not like these ones. And that's why we like you. And it's, or, like, oh, you're not one of them ones, or you're not a real one, or how come you don't do music like this, and how come you're doing genres like this, and why do you dress this way, and why do you do this with your hair? Do you want to be more white? Oh, how come you don't talk like that? They're going to make you because they're so used to pushing us either aside and into the darkness or into this tiny little box. You know who you are. Your community and your mob know who you are. Do not let them sway you from that understanding of yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. That's amazing. I think it's a really good time now to plug the Support Act services that they offer. In particular, the Support Act Wellbeing Helpline, which is 1800 959 500, which if you're working in the creative industry, so music, arts, you get 10 free sessions with a psychologist or counsellor. And there's a dedicated First Nations line on there as well, so it's so that's really good to know about. I'll plug the rest of the services later, but I appreciate each of you opening up about the benefits of therapy and that type of thing, and Support Act offer that service. So I just want to wrap it up with looking forward to, like, we've talked a lot about the challenges and that type of thing. What changes would you like to see in the Australian music industry to better support First Nations artists, not just creatively, but also like on the mental health, the social, the emotional, and the mental?
Man, I feel like I've been out of like the industry for a little bit now, but I think, you know, there's always been. I've spoken to, you know, people like Creative Vic, Music Victoria, just about better ways that they can support rural community, mob, and that, and like, you know, because it is hard sometimes for mob outside of Melbourne to even know some opportunities or pathways exist. I think me being back in Mildura now, I really get to see that kind of firsthand, and I experienced it firsthand as well. But you know, there's a lot of things that just kind of go under the radar when the further you go out of Melbourne, the further things go under the table. So it's a really interesting part for me to the position I'm in, and the fact that I've been in the industry and experienced all these things. It was always my plan to gain a bunch of knowledge and understanding of the space that I'm in, take that home and implement it into my community. So, you know, I'm home now. I've been running music workshops all over the country, in youth prisons, in, you know, remote communities, rural communities, urban communities, wherever it may be. But now I'm trying to set things up for the local artists back home, the local mob back home. I'm building a studio right now, and I'm working for an arts organisation, and, you know, creating programs for young mob. But for older mob too, I have this really. I just want to tell you about it because it's mad. Actually, a couple little things I want to tell you about. I got this one idea for a hot dog stand, right? And it's called Dumb Dogs.
Yes. I love hot dogs.
And I got like. Man, I got these mad ideas for dumb dogs. But anyway, a couple of the hot dogs will be like, the dumb dog will be the general dog, and like the gammon dog will be the vegan option, and like the dead dime dumb dog will be like the hot dog with the lot, you know, and like. So
This is the best thing I've heard in such a long time.
It's so good. But outside of that, that's a little personal project that I'm going to work on.
I know how to
working
get food
on
licensing and that.
Hey?
I know how to get food licenses and all that sort of stuff and permits. Let's start it up.
The gammon
need
dog,
to.
that's crazy.
The gammon dog is hilarious. I'm great. I'm a genius. Nah. But you know, a program that I'm working on currently is called Nana's Kitchen, and I'm creating Nana's Kitchen because I think we're speaking about it backstage. There's a lot of there's a lot of grassroots initiatives that aren't in community anymore, and I want to get kind of back to that, you know. And I'm not talking about like starting programs within our communities. I'm talking about like back when I was growing up, you know, all the cousins and that would go over to Nana's. Nana would cook up a big feed. Everyone's just chilling in the lounge room, rowing and fighting and laughing and, you know, telling jokes, telling ghost stories, all sorts of crazy stuff. That's missing from the community these days, that type of energy. So Nana's Kitchen is something that I'm setting up, and the idea is to bring, you know, 3 aunties together, once a month, put on a big feed. They get to take care of a like 3-course meal, and they get to share their story with whoever's eating their meal about why they cooked this, what it means for them. And this is, you know, for us as a community to re-experience what that was. You know, it's those moments that were so warm for me, being with my family and listening to Nana or my aunties have yarns, and they get to, but then their aunties also get to experience or re-experience what that's like, to be able to share their story, give them a chance to feel special, because it's like there's so many aunties in our communities that be just feeding the whole neighborhood and have been doing this forever, but have never gotten the love and have never been championed the way that they needed to be. And it's a shame, because it's like I see it happen after they passed away, and I saw that happen with my auntie Bev. You know, after she passed away, they had local awards named after her and rooms in these business buildings that were named after her. But while she was here, nothing, you know. She was the angry black woman down the road. But it's like, we need to create what we can to ensure that people in our community are getting opportunities to be seen, but to also share what they're passionate about, share what they want to do. And it doesn't have to be anything that's so serious, you know. I think like giving mob an opportunity to share their story is super, super empowering for them. Yeah. I don't know if I went off the question. I don't even know what the question is anymore. But
Nana's Kitchen.
But
Nana's Kitchen, Dumb
Nana's
Dogs.
Kitchen. Nana's Kitchen and Dumb Dogs coming soon.
Going back, the question was just what changes would you like to see in the Australian music industry?
Australian music industry. I think like money and resources need to be equitably distributed. As Philly said, like we are very lucky here in Melbourne, or you know, in a city, Sydney or whatever. We have access to places. Like if you go to a couple around like Melbourne, if you go to a couple of local libraries, they've got recording spaces. They've got like proper mics and proper equipment where you can record stuff. You go out to 𝐿 or whatever, they don't really have that sort of stuff out there. So I think having that being dispersed properly, especially considering that a lot of money that is put into our communities to support community don't actually come to us. I think there needs to be a bit more accountability on where that's really being distributed. But I think, I don't know how it is in other cities, but I think we as like Melburnians, as Victorians, I think we've always been really deadly in supporting one another.
Yeah.
I would like to see that happen more nationally. I think with DJs we're pretty deadly with that, because like, you know, we talk to each other all the time. We shop to other people's sets. We share all that other stuff. I think sometimes you can be so lost in the music industry that, you know, you kind of just want to keep to yourself sometimes as an artist. But like, I feel like I feel like you need that support. And I feel like as you don't just need support from like people who are going to show up to your shows or people who are going to book you or agencies or whatever, you need it from your fellow artists. And just being there for each other. I think the reason that we've come so far in this industry is because we did it ourselves.
Yeah.
I don't think it was anybody being like, you know, we really want to hear more black music, so like we're just gonna like build this big studio and just allow them to come in and make music whenever they want, and we're just gonna put out all the music that they want to put out. No way. It was like young warriors fighting with radio stations for years just to put one song out. It's people going head to head with Triple J, with other agencies, with venues, with festivals. It was us doing that work, and it was us supporting each other. I think some of that money has to come to us.
100%. And
Yeah.
just real quick, it's
Go.
just that's the thing about like being black people and just being a black artist in general. We can't just be an artist. We're black first, so we have to put ourselves out there, and we have to call festivals out and radio shows out and do all these extra fucking things to ensure that we get an equal crack at it.
Yeah.
Which is fucked up.
There was no like flip that switch that was like, actually they might actually got something here. They might have a good song. No, it was us doing that, and it was us supporting each other. Like, Young Warriors and Nat Rap with Playback Records. It was Blackfella Radios pushing our stuff. It was us putting our own events on in Fitzroy, doing all the cabarets and that and supporting each other, and it was all these artists supporting each other. We just got to keep continuing that. We got to keep sharing those resources, and I think industry bodies or organisations that have this money and decide that they want to do stuff with it, they need to be making sure that they're giving those opportunities everywhere and not just to certain people or their little friends or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I completely agree with what you're saying. Like, another thing for me that has been like so frustrating being an artist and kind of like witnessing other Black artists come up is there's so much like limitation put on us as like artists. It's like, you know, there's a place for you to be political or be a Black artist, but like on the side stage.
Yeah,
know?
go to the black stage.
Yeah, go to the black stage.
Go to
you
the
know?
black stage.
Like, but why can't I play the main stage at a regular time? You know what I mean? Like, me and Miss Kanina played a festival a few like months ago, and it was so crazy to me because she was just as big as the person playing the main stage. Yet for some reason we were like all on this one stage, and every other act on there happened to be like Black or POC, and everyone else on every other stage was like white. And I was like, I feel like there's something going on here.
And it happens a lot.
And that happens all the time, you know, like being put on first and then not having someone to do an acknowledgement at a festival. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
am I the acknowledgement? Like, are you expecting me to do that? Like, that's crazy. First step, I feel like some of these, you know, white people in this industry need to go get some cultural education.
I think they just need to go.
Yeah, you just need to go. Time to leave.
Just
time
go.
to retire.
Your time is up.
Time is up. Yeah, like the amount of times, like, you know, I feel like there's a lot of people who don't know how to interact with Black people and Black artists in general. Like, the amount of times, like, I've been tokenized or, you know, like, put on gigs and not told that it's a Black event, you know, and, like, I had this booking agent, fucking dumb cunt, but they booked me for this gig, and it was like a big cricket event, like a finals event, and yeah, they were like, oh, it's paying so-and-so, and like, it's gonna be awesome, and they basically booked me for it, signed the contract, everything, and then they happened to like mention right at the end, like after everything was already agreed, oh, like, can you just sign off on this quote? And it was like, I'm so proud to be Black and playing this event. Wow. And I was like, this is crazy, like. And that is like just the tip of it. Like, there's so many people who go through that exact same thing. And yeah, some people just need to get called out for it, and they just need to go. They just need to be out of here. So, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, each of you, for your honesty and just sharing the yarn tonight. Philly's told us about Dumb Dogs and Nana's Kitchen, but what are your future plans? Can you each tell us what's on the horizon for you?
Hopefully still working, because that's just how I pay my bills right now. No, I'm actually, I will say this, like, I think for a lot of Victorian blackfellas, it's been I think every year is hard, but this year's been different. It's been really full on. There's been a lot of deaths, a lot of really terrible deaths that's happened. So I feel like my mental health over the past couple of years, including this year being sort of like the tipping point, has been so bad. So I feel like I've been so withdrawn from my creative processes and the things that make me happy, because it's like, if I'm not creating, then I'm not doing stuff for my mob. If I'm not doing stuff for my mob, then like, I'm horrible. So I'm actually really pushing. I'm finalising my work at my office job. And I'm looking for another job, but I am really pushing to start making clothes again, and putting on events for my community, and being able to be present. I think that's like the biggest thing that I want to be doing. I think mental health wise, because I've been so, I can't be as present as I want to be at the great events that I'm taking part of, or community events and that. So I think my thing I'm really looking forward to is pushing myself to be present again in my creative practices and in my community. Yeah.
I think for me, like, I just want to be making music and enjoying making music and enjoying being an artist. Again, I feel like sometimes being a Black artist, it's just so draining, and it takes a lot of energy to just be out at events. And like you said, like, it's like 10 times harder to just do everything. You have to be advocating for yourself just as hard. So yeah, hopefully this year I'm just making music and actually enjoying it, because I feel like that's what made me start music in the first place. So, and yeah, I want to spend more time in my community. You know, I've been going back to Campbelltown heaps and like mentoring artists and teaching songwriting, which has been so much fun. So yeah, hopefully I can do some more of that.
Yeah, cool.
I retired some years back, and then lockdown happened, and so I started writing because there was nothing else to do.
Yeah.
So I've been...
You still retired? I've lost count now.
Yeah, no. So during lockdown, because I was writing a lot, my homie Pat of physics, he was like, "Yo, the world needs a Philly album," and that G'd me up, and I was like, you know, right? The world does need a Philly album. So so we've just been working on an album for the past it's been how long now since lockdown?
4 years.
God
5
damn.
years.
Okay, we've been working on the album for 5 years, but you know, I just got a grant, which is cool. So we're gonna release it this year. So new feeling music out soon. Outside of that, I'm gonna be home in Majura, working in community, mentoring some of the young artists and helping develop them. We got so much talent back in the Mallee. You know, it's crazy. I'm looking forward to just trying to see what I can do with the young ones back home and help them, you know, continue to pursue their passion in music.
Yeah, I like that. I think we all need someone like...
What was you going to say?
I'm laughing because I just remembered that in like the end of 2019, when you announced that you retired, you were retiring, I DJ'd for him for his last gig, and I literally cried.
Yeah.
I cried because I was like, oh, end of an era. Like, I was literally crying, like, behind the DJ table. And then, after the pandemic, he's like, music. I'm like, what do you mean? I was crying. You told me you were done.
It was done. But the plan is like, I've had an extensive career, but I've never released an album. So you know, lockdown happened. I started writing music, and I was like, all right, cool. Let me just release an album, and then I'll fuck off. No one ever got to hear from me or see me again. Yeah. That's the plan. I want to get rich enough so no one ever has to speak to me again.
I want to echo pataphysics. We need more.
No, I know.
But I also want to say, like, I think the thread through this whole yarn has been how important community is. Community is what we can fall back on. Community is there for us. We need to bring the mob along with us when each of you get your achievements. You've all talked about you talked about the gig at Sub Club and all of the shenanigans and the mob there, and it's just bringing everyone along with you. I think.
I think the biggest thing as black followers is that, like, we're not I's and me's, we are us and we's. And I think for the majority of us in the arts team, that's how we conduct ourselves. And I think in the broader sense as a community, that's how we conduct ourselves. And obviously, it's not going to fit for everybody, because some people do like their space and to do their own thing. But we are not, what's the word? We're not hermits. We're not people that come from a history of hermit people. We are community people. We are tribesmen and clansmen. We do stuff collectively, and we are supposed to do that. Yep. And I think that's when we feel most close to who we are and what we're supposed to be doing, is when we're doing it together.
Yeah, I think that's the perfect ending, Sky. Thank you.
I don't know if any of you saw my Triple J like a version back in the fucking day, but Jaden played Gat for me.
That was back before grey hairs happened, though.
Yeah. We went there so unprepared, and we came here unprepared as well.
We were pretty prepared. You sent me the tracks last week.
Matt, yeah, I sent in the tracks last week. We've never performed these tracks together. We had like a run through of 2 songs today, so we'll see how we go.
Let's do it.
Haven't been around the world, but I've seen a lot of shit from his front porch. I grew up as a man from a kid from his front porch. I watched brothers throw fists from his front porch and watched brothers run from pigs on his front porch. I see my fam sell drugs from their front porch.
And we always show love from that front porch. It's been forever since I've been on that front porch. But some days I still feel I'm on that front porch. I'm from a city that ain't too many people from. You learn to speak from your chest and never bite your tongue. Cause you're sure to see your beef when it's said and done. And only running you gon' do is when you run them once. And we still out here, cause it's real out here. Money, don't give a fuck how you feel out here. See a couple chase you down like Sonny Bill out here. You feel you're always moving down, ain't no hills out here. And we don't play round here, it's not a game round here. Shit moves slow in the country, still the same round here. And I can't blame my peers for getting caught up in the trap or try to help them escape. Every time that I go back, I'm preaching my pro-black. They're like, what can we do with that? Shit ain't putting food on my table, and I'm closing my kids back. Fuck, I'm closing my kids back. It ain't no jobs out here for my sister or my bro. Got fuck all else to do. We just turn to selling dope and whatever else to keep this shit afloat. Go and judge all you like, it's better than being broke. Give a fuck what you believe. We're just trying to get by, and my people gotta eat. We're just trying to survive. I hear the words from your mouth and see the gammon in your eyes. You really think we wanna have to go and make this sacrifice, huh? Look, this ain't the life we chose. This the life we know. The sun don't shine over here. How the hell we meant to grow, man? How the hell we meant to win or lose? And you can try all you want, but you can't walk in my shoes, nah. And I just wanna be home. I want that love from my family and never left alone, lah. And I just wanna sit on that front porch. I wanna watch our kids be kids from that front porch. I wanna hear my auntie sing from that front porch. But it's been forever since I've been on that front porch. Since I've been on that front porch. Since I wanna hear my auntie sing from that front porch. But it's been forever since I've been on that front porch. Thank you. Shit. That's called 41 Hector Street. That's the house I grew up in. I'm so unprepared. I need to go look at my set list. Prison Greens. I've been I feel like writing a lot more introspective kind of pieces as of late. Kind of really looking within, really looking at the stories that, you know, from my life, connected with my older brothers and older cousins and that, and you know, they were always the people I looked up to, although our kind of lives went completely different directions. I was heading down the same path, but you know, music found me and I got to do a lot of amazing things, but you know, they still ended up in prison, they still ended up drunk and on drugs and all these sort of things, but they're still my brothers, you know. I learned more from my brothers on the street, my sisters on the street, than I could ever learn from an academic, and that's the truth of it. So it's the inspiration that I get from them that creates songs like this. It's called Prison Greens. Yeah. My older cousin always found it hard to avoid the drama, felt no one loved him, so he never opposed the voice of karma, tried to look above him, only saw a void where the stars are, poured out liquor for his mama, then rolled up some marijuana. He looked me in the eye, said, you don't want to feel like me? These scars on my fists happen if you real like me. This isn't just a movie, this is real life, Pete. And I could tell from his demeanor that he plead not lead. He told me, Bunzel tested me, but I fail each time. I want freedom more than breathing, so I inhale these lines. This winter cold, snow on my coat, and my sneakers soaked, blood dripping from my nose. But that pain inside, for days we cried, sitting in cells, no bell in sight. Them flames burn bright when you live in hell at night. Cause I know what pain feel like from the shit that I've seen. I'm only sharing my life because at times I'm reminded of the prison greens. Cause don't fall the way I felt. We were born and raised in hell, but there's light up above. My life been full of ups and downs, full circle. And trust me, cause that physical pain won't be what hurt them. I heard him say apparently patience is a virtue, but there's no time. Yeah. Your purpose is to change the world. My purpose was to break it. Looking for another storehouse, a car that I can break it. My heart break a little more each time. Don't wanna live this life of crime, but I gotta survive. And I gotta provide for my woman and my children, whether dead or alive. See, I can't fight this feeling that I ain't worth shit. My cousin, I ain't worth shit. And that pain feel good from the cuffs that hurt my wrists. I got my wisdom from prison, just a victim of systems. I'm free externally, they got a hold of my spirit. Is it fucked with me to say wish we were still on the missions? Segregated from the cities, would that change our conditions? I swear they took our freedom when they took our land. That disconnection from my culture means I don't know who I am or who I'm supposed to be. It's too dark for me to see, I'm only sharing my life because at times I'm reminded of them prison greens. Cause Don't fall the way I felt. We were born and raised in hell, but there's light up above. My life been full of ups and downs, full circle. And trust me, cause of physical pain when people hurt you. I heard them say apparently patience is a virtue, but there's no time, no time, no time. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's a good song, eh? It's deadly, eh?
What are we doing now?
Well, I was recording that song, right? I was recording that song at the studio. And my son was there in the studio with me. He's 10. And, you know, he was just watching me recording. And after I finished, he was like, Dad, can I redo it? I was like, well, all right, if you want to. So I adjusted the microphone for him, and he sang the chorus. Like, once I release the song, you'll hear his vocal in the chorus as well. And it's so dope. I didn't have to instruct him or nothing. He was just picking it up there and just wanted to sing it. It's a beautiful song, though. I really enjoyed that song. What is the next song? One Night. All right. So as we're talking about tonight, there's a lot of different things that I think is important. I think one is being present, as Sky was saying earlier. Like, being present is such a hard thing sometimes. For me, it was really difficult. Like, when I'm in certain spaces, like with my friends, with my family, with my partner, there was a lot of times when I just kind of like, my mind just wasn't there. And it's always hard for me to kind of bring myself back and be in that space and just being in that moment. So I wrote this song. It's a sexy song. It's like a love song, I suppose. No woman, but it's a love song. But it's a reminder of being present, being in those moments. It's called One Night. Yeah. She's a black queen in the element. Deep roots in her medicine. It's about medicine. Strong mind and a kind soul. Knows when to hold me down and when to lift me up. I've been drinking, so I'm talking a lot. All these feelings from this bottle that I pour on the rocks. I heard these drunk words are from the heart, so let these words run free, at least just for this one night. Just for this one night. You and I can dream at least just for this one night. We both want a world that is better for our children. It can start right here with this empire that we built. Cause they don't want to see us win, they rather see us locked up and never see the light again. But as I start to sober up, she said, let's save the world tomorrow, for now all we need is us.
All we need is love. All we need is love.
Yeah. And now we're deep in conversation, speaking on the system, how it all shaped the nation. She invited me for basically procreation. Now she gotta listen to my thoughts on segregation and racism. Is still alive and well. It's the type of evil that would thrive in hell. The reason our people do so much time in jail. If no one else is gonna fight, I do it by myself, okay? And she understands, but all she really wanna do is love a man. I get so caught up thinking about the motherland that I never really check what's in my other hand. I feel blessed. She the Bonnie to my Clyde, the ride or die. And elevator but is mine, like la-di-da. She my queen, like Latifah. She my queen, like Latifah. Hey.
All we need is love. All we need is love.
Now I'm gonna need you to sing with me if you know it. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Your turn, ready? Go. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Make some noise for yourselves one time. Yeah, deadly. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. This next one's called Black Love. Hold up, I don't even remember how Black Love starts. Do you know how it starts? Alright, we'll just do the last verse. That's the only one I can remember right now. Black skin, black hair, black fist, black love, black life, black joy, black everything and more. Black clouds in the sky mean the rain gon' fall to black soil on the ground to help life grow, and then the sunshine and a kiss on your melon and absorbing the light. Now tell me that ain't magic. What's evident to me is only you understand the hardships I gotta face living as a black man in a world that don't love us, but you do. And this world just don't trust us like you do. See, black is beautiful. We're black and beautiful. Our blackness is power. Let our blackness empower our black love. We all long for that black joy and write songs for that black life. It's all shades of black, and when it's all said and done, it all fades to black. Whoa. Yeah, it all fades to black. Whoa. It all fades to black. Yo. I don't remember the other verse. You just can get one verse out of me, and that's it. Thank you. I told you, not prepared. I'm been all over the place. How you feeling? Good? Can you do one more song? I'll do one more song. I do. It's called River. Haven't been home for some time now. Been on the move, feel like I can't slow down. Still got lots to do in a world that never sleep. So why should I? You won't see me get a peep. Steep steps lead to the mountain peak. But what's the point of being there if you can't hear me speak? As far as I can see, I feel the future's bleak. And I'm seeking something real, but that shit too deep to reach. River, the world is feeding on my soul. This fight never ends, it's got me fleeing on my goals. Internal dialogue with an eternal flame. And should these walls fall apart, then that still remain. My aunt said, if you're lost, let the river take you home. And you know which way to go with that cross in the road. I feel I'm on my own, but no, I'm never alone. Cause the spirit of my country always calling me home. River.
No matter where I go, where that river flow, set me on. Back to where I belong. When the soul is started, when it all departed. Come on, take me on. Back to where I belong.
Now take me back where that bar and the barker collide. Where the red desert sands meet that baby blue sky. Home, that's where my heart is. Back where it started, before I departed and started chasing these stars. Playing my cards until that boat sank down. Then I washed ashore up on that riverbank now, where I can't recognize any face in the crowd. They sing my praises out loud, but I don't have a vase for the flowers. To that last pedal fall, I put that pedal to the floor. But I'm moving upstream and that current too strong, so I just let go and let go. And recall what I was told. Aunt said, if you're lost, let the river take you home. And you know which way to go with that cross in the road. I feel I'm on my own, but see, I'm never alone. Cause the spirit of my people always calling me home. River.
No matter where I go, where that river flow, come on, take me home. Back to where I belong. Back to where it started, when that soul departed. Come on, take me home. Back to where I belong. When the storm is over and the walls come tumbling down, gonna find my way back home, so feet don't fail me now. When that war is over and the walls start crumbling down, find my way back home, find my way back home. Natunyana put by meeting I know, find my way back home. Natunyana breathing I know.
Us? Us? Yeah, you good. My brother. That's mad. That's mad. Yeah, fucking how we do. All right or what? But yeah, big love to Support Act. Big love to the crew here at the Wheeler Centre. Big love to Sky and Becca and my boy Jade, and big love to the sound crew. Big love to fucking everyone that's here tonight. But I hope you, I hope you enjoyed the performance, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your night. Peace and love and peace. Thank you.
Good. Good, Matt.